How's everybody feeling today? Oh man, that's like, it's definitely Saturday of ADE. You heard that? Yeah, there's no noise. How's everybody feeling today? Give me some energy. Give me some energy. It's been a good week, right? It's been a good week. You've been busy, booked and busy. And no, it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful to see all the different events kind of happening within the African electronic world here. I feel like this year was more than the past 2 years, at least the ones that I've experienced. And it was amazing to see, so many great artists, people within the community on the content side, the marketing side, up and coming artists. Like it's always great. I always tell people that ADE is a beautiful week because we're always in this digital world, communicating with each other in different ways, through Instagram or text, whatever it may be. And it's really great to to have these moments together where we can come together and connect face to face. Because at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. It's about, building real relationships, and, online can work, but once we come face to face, it's just a different feeling. And I know that we all feel it as well. So yeah. So just to introduce myself, my name is Meedy. I'm the founder of Descendants Records. We are an Afro electronic event experience based out of New York. Specifically, we do most of our events in Brooklyn. We've done shows in several different cities, but Amsterdam is definitely our second home. Shout out Wesley, who initially brought us here very early on, actually. So thank you for that. That was really, he saw something in us very early on, and it's turned out to be a great relationship. And we just had our first ADE showcase a few days ago with also my brother Capito, the Capo, and Kitty was there as well, and a few other artists. I don't know who else is in the building that we had, but yeah, it was amazing. So I'd like to start by, having each panelist here introduce themselves very briefly and tell us, I guess, who you are and what your role is in this whole ecosystem. We could start, let's go down the line with Sis Kitty.
You've gone for the most tired one.
No, that's not true.
Oh, we're going to compare each other's tiredness now, yeah? Hi, everyone. I'm Kitty Amor. I'm blessed to be alive. I'm blessed to be here with you lot. I'm a DJ, producer, and giver, lover, whatever you want to call me. That's what I am.
Shout out to Love. Shout out to Love.
Hello, I'm Robin. I'm from Berlin. I'm running the W agency. I'm working with artists like Jeff and Arwen and Floyd Lavine and many others. My partner with the other cap is sitting over there. We're managing as well most of our artists, and I was as well founding Rise back then. I'm still a supporter of that, and yeah, I'm happy to be here and have a discussion with all these other people here.
Make some noise.
My name is Wesley. I'm a lover of music, DJ, producer. Been doing that for 2 decades, and for the last 6-7 years or so, electronic music, especially African electronic music, has been my main thing. And I also work as a programmer, talent buyer for Paradiso and our daughter club right across the water, Parallel.
Did you mention tribes?
Oh yeah.
Can we talk about that real quick?
So, and I organized Tribes and Cyangate, which was amazing yesterday, till like 7:30 a.m. So, hello.
Side note.
Hi guys, I'm Sam. I run Semtone. We're a Swiss-based booking agency. Ultimately, that focuses on bringing, let's say, African talent worldwide. That's how I got to know Meedy here, specifically bringing artists like Thandi or Karen DeSol, who's somewhere around, out to New York. But it's that sort of angle that we're trying to bring, I would say, is Africa to the world. That's kind of the strategy behind what we're doing.
I got Mike. I'm not a man that has so much to say, but I am the Capo, house music producer and a DJ from South Africa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Thandi Draai. I am from the south of Africa. I'm a music producer, a DJ, a vocalist, and a psychopath in music. I love music. I'm obsessed with music. I'm a sonic healer. So, yeah, that's me.
I got one.
Oh, sorry.
Everyone's. Thank you all for those intros. Yeah, so the title for this talk, as I was kind of trying to put together, this is our third edition of Moving House Forward. I think the title of the program speaks for itself. It's really focused on artists that, in my opinion, are moving house forward into the future. And as I was brainstorming what kind of conversation to have, I think we all have had, so many conversations happening within the space that are very important. But today we're going to be discussing what I call breaking borders, navigating the international market. So discussing anything from visas and strategies, and it's not to say that there hasn't been international breakthroughs for this music, but I think it's at its peak in that sense. There's so many more artists, not just here, but trying to also make it into, out of places like South Africa or Kenya or Angola, where the artists are coming from. Shout out Mozambique too. And, I think there's a lot of information that gets lost, and things seem a lot simpler than they actually are. And that's why there's, professionals and people that have been doing this for a long time. People like Robin is a great example that are key. And I'm just really excited to learn what you've all experienced through that process. So if you can, once again, we're gonna start at the end. Let me know, it's whether it goes this way or that way, eventually it's gonna touch you. So, it's grown, like I said, it's grown so much over the years. So tell us a little bit about your experience, especially I'm so excited to hear about yours because you've had such a crazy year, touching so many, I think a lot of new cities, right, that you haven't been to prior to this year, and you've been so active. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your experience with all the travels and navigating, spreading the sounds and your sounds into new places.
I think over the 15 years, I've seen it start from one to many. And by that, I mean in terms of how many of us are physically on the ground being able to do what we want to do. And it's very interesting to see the opportunities that are now available to many, where before those doors were closed, or should I say the spotlight was only angled in a particular position. And it's just nice to see how in the recent years it's now filtered out for everyone to have a space, take space, but also actually see something that they want to be. Where 15 years ago, I didn't have a Kitty Amor. The only peer I had was Thandi. And it's very interesting that those are the two ladies that are sitting here alongside you talking about this, because I feel it's very telling in terms of the change of time. We, yes, didn't have a voice. Yes, we didn't have the ability to stand strong as women in the industry. However, I am enjoying now that it's not the epicenter of our being. That's been my experience. People approach me as Kitty Amor rather than, a woman in the industry to tick a box so I don't get cancelled. That's been my experience. I'm sure Thandi can vouch for that as well. And I think that has been a change in attitude because people have been asked to be made accountable for why it is you're progressing in the way that you're progressing, and are you staying true to that, rather than just getting a job done and avoiding cancellation. I would say the health of our scene is in a position that is insane to see, but very deserving as well, because I feel like a lot of people, the founding fathers that I class as the Capo, Kulo, Black Coffee, so many of them, Tembo as well, I feel like it was pushing blindly, and what may come, it will be. However, now, because those founding fathers have laid the foundation, there are so many now that can build strategy based off of what they've seen. So I can only speak on those changes in regards to the 15 years that I've been active in the game. In regards to breaking into new territory, I'll be honest with you, I think our music is in an undeniable state. I don't feel like anyone has to explain Afro House anymore, which is very enjoyable, but also just makes me be able to say, oh, finally, because the DSPs are playing their part through Spotify, Apple Music, Tracksource, Beatport. When we started, there was no category for Afro House. We were all jumbled under house music, and if you could filter and decipher what was what, that was just your ear telling you what is Afro House. But now we have actual navigations through DSPs that work in the favor of producers, artists, and DJs. And I feel that that has contributed to the change of being able to break new territories where it's able for you to just express who you are, and people are more willing to understand it rather than snubbing their nose because they just never heard it before and will rather conform to their comforts. That's my experience.
I think the delayed clap was tiredness. Maybe we should talk about tiredness.
Yeah,
today.
definitely.
Robin, if you wouldn't mind sharing. Yeah, if you can share your thoughts as well.
About what exactly?
It's about, just tiredness.
I'm really sorry. I'm actually really tired. I was yesterday with Sin City at an after hour that she played, so I came to bed at 11 o'clock and I'm struggling.
It's all good. If you can share your experience. I mean, obviously you've been in this space for quite some time, but also just your experience of this year in general and how navigating you as an agent, bringing several artists to a lot of new territories, including Jeff and Alwyn, like you mentioned, Floyd, Levine. So tell us about how that experience has been, both gratifying and challenging, and just some things that you can share from your perspective.
Okay, yeah. To give a bit of background, I am as well since 20 years in the music industry. I was programming Watergate, and I was doing all kinds of house and techno. And when we started Rise 10 years ago, before it was actually the term Afro House, I started to dig into that area. I was here always at ADE as well 10 years ago already, and there was no business, no people you could meet. Here and there I met some artists, but definitely not managers, label owners that could make a living from that, or other managers, agents, etc. And that definitely grew a lot. This year by far the most, pretty clearly. A lot of events, a lot of people that actually can make a living and as well can push the scene from the back. Not only artists that push, but they have a team now. And that is so much better now because before the artists had to do everything. They had to be here, they had to do all the networking, they had to play the shows. And now there can be other people that help them, that can collect information, that can talk about them, that can explore how is different countries and chat with people. I think this is one of the main changes that will definitely help us as well for the next years to be more visible, to give the artists space to do art and not everything else as well. And that is my outtake from seeing that. Was there anything else in that question? Sorry.
Yeah, if you have any challenges that you've experienced while, navigating all of this kind of new territory with newer artists, or artists that have yet to play in certain places, and how that's been, that experience has been for you.
That's a super big question. There's a lot of challenges, obviously, on every level. I think we go later into that, visas, airports, and stuff like that. Obviously, that's super challenging as well. Whenever you go to a new country, obviously it's challenging for everybody. It's especially challenging for the person that goes there, that was never there, that goes into something completely new. You don't know what to expect. It's as well challenging for the team behind that person because you need to set up travel, you need to set up an organization, you need to work with people where you don't know exactly how does it work. Do they send us the driver details or not, to be precise like this. All that kind of stuff. I work as well with several artists from various countries and various, you need to check, is there a visa needed? For this country, yes, for that artist, not. So many different things if you go into new spaces. So that's very challenging, but on the other hand, we are super grateful that this happens right now and that we can build structures, that we can build experiences, that we can learn lessons. I'm always happy to share these lessons, obviously, as well whenever there's artists that reach out or ask or yeah, so we build a lot of information and yeah, we try to work with that information and make it best case easier for everybody all the time.
Great, thank you. That was great. Thank you so much.
Yo.
Yo.
Yeah, I think it's amazing to see the growth and the spaces that have opened up for African electronic music as a whole. I think looking at my home city where we are sitting right now, Amsterdam, there are so many other venues that now open their doors. Somebody just told me, like for instance, Club Up is doing something tonight. They were really never interested in this type of music, and I would say it was already bubbling, but post-COVID that really totally changed over here, the way people perceive it. I must say it also comes with challenges in a way, and I see a few challenges. I would say one challenge is you're talking about the amount of events that we have that cater towards Afro House. A challenge that we always have in our country, and now I'm maybe talking more about Holland, but we have a thing about trends. And people love to hop on trends here and capitalize off of that. And I feel like in a way now, especially when Amapiano came, in the slipstream of that, Afro House kind of became a trend. So you also have, besides people that are really in it for the proper intentions and that really love this music, you have a lot of people that jumped on it, trying to make some money off of it. And you see, nobody likes that. And who knows what the next trend is and you know where they will jump next. That's just the way it should go. So I do feel like it's important to kind of keep the essence of what this music and this culture and the scene is about and make sure that that doesn't get lost and overshadowed because some of the trends that might blow up extremely quick. I see that as a challenge, especially because it's a fine balance, because you want everybody to go and get bookings and get paid and make a living out of that. And sometimes it's difficult, especially if you come from a different place. It might be difficult to sometimes understand why you need to say no to a specific gig, even though the money is. So I see some challenges coming up there. And another challenge that I see from my position is I just said I work in Paradiso, which is a music venue that's been around since '69. Also work with Lowlands, which is one of the longest running festivals in this country. And over there, I very much feel responsible for opening spaces for this music and the scene. Being the programmer, I just claimed this Friday night, bum, that's Stripes during ADE, and we're gonna do that. And I had to say no to a lot of international big name artists that some programmers might be like, yo, how are you gonna turn them down? But I wanted to create space for this thing that we're doing now. At the same time, then you have the pressure from like these big multinational corporate agencies that have artists that they want to put in a prime venue like Paradiso. Withholding that pressure, being like, no, we're not going to do this, we're going to focus on this. And at the same time, also then navigating like, I sometimes feel like I'm mediating between different cultures, because there's different cultures that are meeting when South African artists or artists from anywhere in the world come over here. There's a different way of communicating. There are some people prefer email, some people prefer WhatsApp, for instance. It's already a big challenge, that. And then having this, like I said, 60-year-old institution adapt their way of working to fit another continent that has a whole different type of working, that sometimes creates friction. And you know, I have a certain incentive and a deeper motivation of why I want to do this, but there are 200 people that work in that venue. Not everybody has that same motivation. So it can be challenging to have people understand, like, yo, we're working with a whole different culture and we need to adapt and find a way to find a middle ground. I think it's beautiful when it happens, but it's also a lot of work.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because you come from, I guess from your position, you're the, I mean, we have such a great, beautiful variety of people, artists, agents, and then on your side, programmers, talent buyers, talent bookers, however you want to frame it. And yeah, thank you for the work that you do, because shout out to you, bro.
It's not me, it's a whole team, but yeah, thanks.
Yeah, sure. it's you. Take your flowers, brother. Sam?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, just wanted to talk about the status of the scene at the moment. I would say it's incredibly competitive. Don't get me wrong, it's incredibly competitive. But I think that healthy competition has kind of incentivized a lot of artists to be even more individualistic in a way, like curating not only what we would describe as general Afro House, but taking it one step further and creating what is nearly your own genre in the way that you perceive it as the artist. And I think that is what bookers like Wesley or whatever would look at and be like, all right, I want to not book that big stage artist and that sells just tickets, but just brings me more creativity and diversity to what is curated on a lineup, I would say, generally. But I mean, from a challenges perspective, I mean, Robin touched on it before, but the visas is one thing, but it's the unfairness, I would say, slightly in the way that visas and travel is curated for the artists from the guys from SA. It's completely unfair. I mean, like, I describe this all of the time. I said, like, me as a Belgian international, I can travel to more countries in Africa than they can. How does that make sense? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. And I mean, the processes of visas, yes, are grueling, but they are there to be broken in my way, you know, a little bit, I would say. It's like you got to take advantage of whatever situation you're in and make sure that you are able to travel to the places you want to. I mean, obviously the US is the difficult one, but I'd say out here it's challenging, but there's processes for it all, and it works.
Cool. Thank you, man. Capito?
It's my turn.
Capito.
I'm very shy, like guys, but it's fine.
Well, you're coming, from the artist perspective, right? I'd say you're at the 1%, let's call it, in terms of artists that are from South Africa, and the volume that you've been touring has been incredible. I feel like you're paving the way in so many ways, so shout out to you. Yeah, what has been your experience from the artist perspective, going from, being known in so many different spaces, but now you're just entering, I think we had this conversation also in New York, but just entering a completely different world, or so many different worlds and cultures and all this stuff. So what's been that experience like for you, both, once again, like the positive and the challenges a little bit?
It's been nothing but amazing. It's beautiful to share, the music with, like the entire universe with so many people, different cultures, different races. From my experience, like Afro House, compared to like 10, 15 years ago, it was not how it looks like today, The sound has grown so much. There is so many Afro House music producers that send like DMs, like of their songs and everything. That's how much the music have played a role, and how the whole entire world have accepted the music. Learning different music has also inspired. It has also kind of like paved the way for me as well. So it's been nothing but amazing, and challenges. Obviously, like all the guys mentioned, it's the visa situations. We all have that. Like everybody just pretty much said everything I wanted to say, so I don't even know what to say, really. But yeah, I think that's about it, for sure.
And you've obviously have your management and stuff helping you navigate all of those things. So I think I think Robin touched on just like the structure that's slowly kind of coming into the space, and a lot of new people, that maybe previously didn't have experience as an agent or a manager, and coming in with the right ideas and the right approach and the right work ethic, like Caesar has been you know, even just on my side, just amazing to work with. So yeah, and Thandi, yourself?
Well, Kitty has kind of said half of the things that I think, you know, woman to woman. Yeah, the Afro House and Afro Tech space has come a long way. I think I've been doing Afro Tech before it had the tech in it. It was still like Afro House, tribal and ancestral. So it's where Afro Tech is, or Afro House. We have come a long way. It's exciting times. Just like Kitty said, there is more opportunity now, not just for males as well. It's also more opportunities for females. And we're taking this thing really seriously, and we're showing up for ourselves. So anything, I mean, that Kitty gets or has, she's very deserving of that, because we know where we come from. We know the challenges as women to be taken seriously. So we have to take ourselves seriously. Give us the dicks, give us, you know, those softwares, and we'll show you what we're capable of doing. So yeah, I don't think we would be sitting here with you fine gentlemen if we weren't doing something that's shaking up, you know, so.
They're sitting here with you, okay?
So yeah, I mean, like Capo, Karen, the Souls, there's a lot of people, you know, that I can say I've also looked up to with, you know, the growth and how things are done within the music industry, whether it's in the production, you know, so we have also learned a lot from males as well. Like, we're not taking anything away from anyone. It's not sexist. It's either you can DJ or you can drive, you can't drive. But we're in a very, very exciting space for Afro House. So much more opportunities, and I'm so excited for even, the upcoming artists and people that look up to any of us. I feel like we are leaving good examples, yes, Kitty is doing it, you know, the Capo is doing it, I'm doing it, Kay, you know, there's a lot of people, you know, Michi's doing it. So yeah, this is so possible, and it's just exciting times for Afro House and Afro Tech. It's a very, very different space.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So from a strategy perspective, when it comes to international bookings, because there's a lot of, you know, we talked about, you know, navigating, you know, visas and stuff, and I do want to touch on that a little bit more a bit later. But as far as building presence on the international stage, how important is that for your careers? And you could also come from the agent perspective, how important is it for your artists? And how do you balance the, let's say, like the financial risks of touring, you know, for international presence? Like, how do you balance, you know, the cost of the touring and what to take, what gigs to take, and what's important for potential long-term growth and brand building?
I think there's not so much financial risk if you tour, because you actually make your money like that, basically nowadays as an artist. Of course, there's many times like you might have an offer that is bigger in a market where you're already established, rather than a smaller offer somewhere where you're new. And I feel it's very individual what the artist wants to do. There are some artists which I can totally understand that wants to maybe stay in the continent where they live, they have a family, and they don't want to go overseas every weekend. Wouldn't make sense. And there's others that want to explore the world, or that think I might be strong out of this or that reason in that area, because I can speak the language, or they listen to my tracks there on Spotify. I can see it's a market for me. Stuff like that, or I just love the food over there and want to be more in that area. There's many reasons, and I think it's very individual what people want to do, and then you need to make a strategy around that. Obviously, I work with Arwen, she's a mother. Obviously, it's a very different thing than a single person that wants to explore the world and that is 25 years old. So yeah, it's basically working around that, and then making a strategy. And many artists want to travel and don't look first for the money. They want to see how is it over there, can I connect with these people, and can I build over there? And others might already be established somewhere, and it's super nice to play a lot as well in your home country and do shows there and grow there and build from there. There's various ways, and I think it's very individually. I don't have a strategy that all my artists need to do it like that. I speak with everybody, and then we try to work around this.
And anybody like to add to that aspect of things, of brand building?
I mean, I'd agree completely with what you're saying. As you know, each artist is different in each strategy that you try and create. But I'd say what I suggest is like someone who is working their way, wanting to internationally tour, not be a DJ that wants to, let's say, do their home territory, is fixate completely on what I'd say is destination management. Don't focus on be like, all right, I am worth this because that person is being paid that. It's, okay, what can we build on this CV for this artist that says, all right, I get to play this territory, if it's Brazil or Mexico or Angola, it doesn't matter. But I think having that CV and showcasing your variety to provide your music to different cultures of people, that's what people respect. And that's where that you can showcase your talent in that way. And I always say, look, the money will come. If you are dedicated to this game and you are willing to put in those hours and fly in those economy seat flights in middle, whatever it is, you will get there and you will arrive at the end goal, whether that's in 5 years or 10 years. We're committed to this. We don't do this for that. We do this so that we can live in this space ultimately. This space is so much fun with all these people here. So it's quite a family vibe, this genre of Afro. I'd say it's much more so than what I have experienced in any other area of electronic music. And that's kind of a...
Dope, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna talk from an artist point of view.
Please do.
I think for me, I've always looked at myself as a product more than an artist. For me, it's not always about money. There's a whole universe out there where there are people that don't know who Thandi Draai is. So for me, it's not always about the money. I am willing to go out there and sample my products because each and every one of us here are, for me, different. Amor is their own product, the Capo is his own product, etc., etc. So if you want to, just like any person who's promoting something, you have to go out there, give people a taste, a sample, because not everyone knows you, and you might think you're the greatest thing ever, but there are untouched territories. So I really do look at myself more of a product than anything. Like, hey, sometimes the money is not always amazing, but you have to also like be, is it tactical of how you put your product. You can just go to a certain show that doesn't pay, but it can change your life. I'm willing
And
to
you
sample.
gave me the amazing feedback also the other day, because I didn't realize like also the impact that set.
Every day. So next year's calendar, I'm excited.
Amazing. And you know, it is also something that, you know, just from the promoter perspective, I think it's important. You know, Wesley comes from that background as well, knowing that when you're also working and investing on breaking a sound, there's so much that comes with it from our side as well. You know, somebody asked me earlier, like, how can I play Descendants, right? And it's like, a lot of the artists, there are ones like the Capo that might, you know, come into the city, in a city like New York, and still already have, you know, because of all the history that you've had just internationally, like have already presence. But there's so many artists that we've had come that have, you know, never played New York, that have never seen it. So it's such an amazing exchange, and it's very reciprocal in that sense, you know, because we're investing a lot into the sound, and then we have artists like yourself that come and say like, let's all do this together, let's build this thing together. And it's like, it's such an amazing exchange. So to see that the show was so successful, you know, and then you had, I mean, the set is like going nuts right now. So it's a beautiful exchange, you know, and when we are building something special together, all of us, you know. So it's really, really cool. Kitty, did you want to add something to?
I think the only thing I'll add to it is understanding that you do need that history. Not everything, you don't pick up the headphones and then go play at Descendants tomorrow. You need to have that history behind you and be willing to do so. Because if you are saying, oh, I want to, you also should be able to ask yourself, why should you? as well. And I don't think the why questions are being asked enough. And just to touch on what Robin and Sam have also said, as an artist, I think you should also provide strategy to your agent. And by that, I mean as in, you can't just see what you see online and say, oh, this looks like, so I want to be there. You need to actually say to your agent, look, I've started here, this is what I've been doing, this is what the music I'm putting out, this is the catalogue I'm building that I believe will connect with this territory. I want to start at this small club, and I want to be able to build a relationship with that community over a period of years. I'm in a space where I treat every territory now that makes sense to me like it's London. And by that, I mean as in, I'm born and bred in London. I've been active in London for 15 years. But I also took my time with London in terms of understanding that I'm going to start small and continue to compound my audience over a period of time where I then go into a space that makes sense at a time that makes sense. Because I tell you what, if you get thrown into the Tomorrowlands, the Highs, the you name it, that you see online, thinking that that's the place you deserve to be, they will show you flames and remind you, actually, there is 1,000 hours to put into this thing before you actually enter those space. And I tell you what, divine timing is God will always tell you why you need to be where you're meant to be at the time you're meant to be. We are not the makers of our destiny, neither is your agents as well. But if you have a vision and you are able to provide framework as to where it is you want to go, where you work with them as a team rather than them dictating to you, oh, you know, this is your booking today, and then you're also upset that you haven't got another bookings for another 5 months. Well, what did you actually give them to be able to make sure those next 5 months are active? So I would say strategy over a period of time is definitely a key thing for sure.
And thank you. And how do you know before you enter a market, you know, whether if it's an artist or an agent, if a place is for you, if a city that inquired to book you, like what are the things that you check for when promoters make those inquiries? Are you and your team, when you get together and say, okay, this is like the venue, do you look at, you know, is it aesthetics, capacity, like what factors do you calculate to be like, okay, this is actually like a worth it for me to go, besides like the financial, because, you know, you might have 3 inquiries for the same night, right? So what are the things that go into consideration when you're thinking, you know, there's routing, right? Does this make sense with the route that I'm on currently? Like, yeah, what are some of the things that you all look at?
Routing does make a huge point to where it is you are led, but I think it is also speaking to the essence of why you're doing it. Because if I am playing to a small cap venue at a time like now, some people will be like, oh, but why is she only playing to 500 people? But for me, as to what that is giving me, it's giving me balance, because I will have a summer where I'm playing to festivals of thousands of people, and to be able to come into a territory where I'm playing to a small cap intimate setting is actually fulfilling me as an artist, as well as allowing me to connect with people that are supporting me and want to grow with me as well. There's nothing better than to come to Amsterdam and people remind me of the first time they saw me, how many years ago, to also be able to touch me in spaces such as Parallel, because I've decided to go into a smaller venue rather than a big cap where they will expect Kitty and more to be there. However, I understand that this territory for me, I've grown with you rather than I've just arrived at my highest point, if that makes any sense. So I feel like that really does speak to what it is I look for, but also whether my kindred souls are playing there as well, or if they are interested in playing in those spaces. And by that I mean the likes of my peers, Capo, Thandi, Kayanda Soul, Bad Box, Shimza, etc. Those individuals, I do look at what is your interest in these spaces as well, because I have to ensure that what I do in those spaces reflects and makes sense to my scene, because I can't always be here. However, when I'm not here, I want for there to be a reflection of Capo to come next, Thandi to come next, Bad Box to come next, Shimza to come next. I think we have to think beyond just ourselves. We're putting the spaces to also reflect others.
And oh, go ahead.
I want to add one more thing. From an agency perspective, I work with several artists, and obviously I work with some venues with all my artists. So you have as well experience like, is there the right crowd? Is there the right treatment? Is the sound system good? Is the technique working? So you ask all that kind of stuff as well, and you obviously go for something where you already have experience with, and then something where you have no clue if that will work out or not. So yeah, that's as well one aspect that we obviously discuss, like, is there already experience? Who else is playing there? If I know someone who already played there, I give them a call. How was the experience? These kind of stuff, and that is of course as well where your team can help. And where we now have much more experience than 6, 7, 8 years ago, where literally everybody needed to go into new spaces all the time. Right now I can call Kitty's agent or Kitty or Da Capo's agent, etc. And we try to share information, and we try to build safer structures or environments for everybody.
That's actually really important. Like, that's a gem, you know, because sometimes people will even question, should I come to even a place like, you know, we're at ADE, right? We're here to, you know, meet people and stuff, and sometimes people question, is it worth it for me to come? But even just from that perspective, you know, that one relationship that you might get in a certain space that you didn't have before could actually help you so much, especially not to get you, Robin, bombarded after this, but you know, you've been even someone that's great from the jump. You know, we exchanged, and it was like right away, you let me know, like, hey, if you need anything from my side, let me know. You know, and that means the world to someone, especially someone like myself who's much newer in this space as well. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's super, super valuable. You know, don't be afraid to reach out to your peers and ask questions. So, Wesley, from your sorry to wake you up.
No, I was honestly getting inspired by all the knowledge.
It's the hat. I can't, you know. So from your perspective and from your position, what are, you know, as you're programming, you know, between Tribes, Zion Gate, Terra, and just the general programming of the venues that you work with, and as you're trying to break this sound through in the city in different ways, what are some of the things that you look at, and what are actually even more importantly, what are you know, I think that it might be obvious what you do look at, right? It could be, you know, I know you're someone who looks at artists that you personally resonate with sonically, and you start from there, you know, and look at people's track records, et cetera. But touch on that, what you do look for, and then also what you've experienced, because there's so many new artists and different new managers that never had the experience of reaching out to venues like yours. What are some of the don'ts as well from the artist side or from management that you've experienced that make you say, maybe this is like maybe a bit of a risk, or maybe throws out, maybe it's not a good vibe, or like what are some of the things that you've experienced in your position?
Well, let's start with what I look for. I really like to look in the space where I'm musically at, which is everybody sitting here, and look at who's this person and why are they doing what they're doing. I try to get a sense of that, whether it's to the music or also watching the interviews. Sometimes social media gives an impression of why the person is doing what they're doing. Because that matters to me, because then I feel like let me say, I've been doing events for 20 years, and what I've learned is that building relationships with people that you're going to work with is more important to me than getting somebody who's a hype right now. So seeing if whether this person and the people around them are in it for the long run, they really love this culture, they want to grow with it, grow in a city, like Kitty was saying, then it feels to me like, yeah, I want to invest my time and my effort into making this happen. And hopefully not for one gig, hopefully for the years to come. There are some great examples from people walking around here that have been coming over the 3 years, whether they come to Descendants and then Tribes, and who knows what else will happen in the future. So try to look for that. I do feel like I have my own taste in what I like sonically, and I really have passion projects. Like yesterday, Jeff Mills, Tomorrow Comes the Harvest live show. That was really a passion project for me.
I was there. It was wild.
Yeah.
That was so dope. Congrats on that one.
Thank you. Honestly, the whole reason why I did it, and I really wish, some of the people that are sitting here came there, but I really wish more people came through, because what this man is doing, Jeff Mills being one of the godfathers of techno music from Detroit, he linked up with Tony Allen, made an album called Tomorrow Comes the Harvest with a fusion techno music with Afrobeats and jazz influences, and he performs that live. And it's really a jazz show. They don't know what they're gonna do. They just turn the equipment on and they just jam and they just go. And there's a organic spontaneity in that music that very much to me resonates with what we do in our Afro House scene, to put it like that. But I feel like there's so many branches we can branch out into the live experience, and what this 60-year-old man is doing is amazing. And I see my purpose also as a way like booking these artists before Tribes and inviting everybody to come see that. Hopefully I can plant the seed in some of the great artists that are sitting here to, who knows, maybe in 5 or 10 years there'll be electronic live acts, but that are African electronic music live acts, like techno DJs have been doing now for the last decade or so. Sorry, I think I dwelled off a bit there. But I look for that. I look for what's sonically interesting, and it's kind of a curse sometimes too, I must say, because sometimes I feel like I can never stay satisfied too long with the same thing. So I start to look for who is pushing this sound forward into new territories. And sometimes it happens as a promoter that I'm a bit too early to book an act. So people haven't gravitated towards appreciating the sound. And I might 2 years later, and yeah, it looks cool in your resume to be like, hey, they played in our club. But sometimes it's also good to kind of move with the pace that the audience is moving. So that's something I'm learning as well. The other question you asked, like,
the
don'ts.
The don'ts of outreach from artists and their teams, and what you've experienced, especially like I said, there's a lot of new energy coming into this space.
Well, the energy is like everybody's grinding, and I respect the hustle, I respect the grind. So I find it hard to say what you should not do, but some things are not as effective as other things are, and. You know, being a promoter for a club night, the amount of people that, whether it's DM or WhatsApp or email, contact you to be like, hey, I want to play in your venue, it's not really how I go about the bookings and the artists I select. Like I said, I go for the music first, and there's also a lot of people who I rate very much in their taste in music. So we connect, we exchange music, we exchange ideas, and that sparks an interest. I'm not saying you should not email, because, you know, who knows what happened. So you should, but I don't think it's the most effective way. I think there can be some thought put into how you approach people. I think an event like this is great for networking, for meeting people. I know some people also that what I did, and it's very out there, but I also book hip-hop or R&B acts, and there was this R&B singer that sent to the promoter, and I was promoting also R&B events then, flowers with a CD and a card, like, please listen to my music, this is the way I present this, and to the lady I made this song for. And you know, that's something different when that's sitting on your desk when you come into the office as compared to the inbox. So yeah, I will listen to that, yeah. So putting some thought into, you know, putting yourself in a position of, hey, the inbox is filling up, and dealing with that shit. Like, how are you gonna stand out in your outreach to that person? How are you gonna spark and touch their emotions so that they're willing to invest how many time to get to know you?
I would like to add something, because I was programming as well 10 years, and about the don'ts. I think one thing is very important, and that is if you're not getting a slot, you write and you don't get an answer, don't take it personal, because there might be just way too many people writing, and it's not that someone purposely rejects you, it's more that someone purposely takes something else. That doesn't mean that second chance is not there. And the other thing that is, for me, a really big don't is if you're not really working in a partnership. Because a lot of times I have the feeling that programmers and agents, managements have the feeling that everybody needs to fight over something, but actually we're all doing something together. We're doing an event together, we are partners, rather than enemies that need to fight over fees and stuff like that. And for me, it's a big don't if people are not partnering together, everybody, to make a good show, because everybody has the same interest. You want to have a good event, you want to create art, etc., etc. So we're not enemies, and I think it's a big don't if people fight over bigger fees, billings, all that kind of stuff. yeah, of course, in a way, you need to take care that as well you're working in the interest of the artist, but the interest of the artist is having a good show, and everybody needs to push for a good show and work together on that. And it's a big don't to not do that.
One more don't came to mind. Don't send out mass emails and copy and paste and be like, I'm gonna email these 30 clubs. Because I've gotten many emails where they have the wrong venue name in it, or some crazy stuff. Like Kitty was saying, like have a strategy and be very purpose or intentional about what club you want to play at. Like just tell them why you admire that club. What other artists did you see in that club? Why do you see yourself playing there? That resonates way more than some copy and paste shit.
I'm a big fan of don'ts. Anybody got more? Because I think that's how we learn, All of you collectively have so much experience. So, even for me, it's just like, I'm here to, I think anybody loving these don'ts? Got some more? Anybody?
Okay.
I know.
Okay. So once again, as an artist, from an artist's point of view, don't compare yourself to other artists. We all are running, I don't know if I can say our own races. We're English. We are our own, excuse the pun, but we're all like running like our own journey. So yeah, do not depress yourself on looking at what this person is doing and what that person is doing. Stay focus on yourself as an artist, and yes, be very intentional of what it is that you want to do. Just like Kitty said, don't look at a place and be like, oh my gosh, Mang Mang was playing at there, I deserve to be there. No one owes you anything. You don't deserve anything, sorry. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, you must work and be something or product that people are like, okay, I want in this product. So don't compare. That's a big don't, and that's something that has kept me sane, because I have been in the music industry for a very, very long time. And sometimes if you are looking at what everyone else is doing, it can, okay, I think this is part of mental health. It can kind of like disturb you, but it's part of the big don'ts. Don't look at what another person is doing. Stay your course and focus on yourself and become a stronger product. Yeah.
Thank you. Capito?
Nah. Yo, everybody here like said everything. I don't even know what to say after this. Like really.
I'm gonna give you something very specific in a bit. So we touched a little bit on visas. If anybody has some information that they could pass, because I'm sure there's some, not just independent artists, but maybe they have, managers, like I said, a lot of people are very new in this international space, and everybody, or not everybody, but there's some people that think that you just book a flight and you just show up and that's it, So, Robin, I think you touched on this, that every country has its own regulations and rules and way to go about things on the legal side. Coco M, which we're gonna speak to after this, is going to give us a lot of valuable information on that side. I'm super looking forward to that, but because she's got the resources directly through her platform. But how do you go about learning, how to navigate different countries? Like, where do you get the information? How do you know to trust that information? Do you have somebody? Do you go to ChatGPT? Like, what do you do? What do you do?
Actually, we do that as well. How maybe it's interesting how we structure our work. I'm an agent. That means I am going to discuss with the people that want to book my artist to the point where we have a handshake and where we do a contract. And then another part of my team is taking over and is handling the logistics. For most countries, I know as well if that artist can travel there, or I ask it in the booking process. But sometimes you're facing stuff, for example, like your passport got stolen and you have made a visa to go to Asia and now you have only a temporary passport. Is that working in that country? These kind of questions. This is something where my team that is doing all the logistics is doing research, is asking people. Again, it's about collaborating. You ask the promoters on the ground that have more experience mostly with bringing artists. You ask other agents, other managers. But yeah, we have a team, basically me doing the deal and everything around the show till we have the contract, and then another person takes over and handles all their tasks to the show. That means as well, we are basically living in different time zones because I'm always doing the bookings like 2, 3, 4 months ahead, and that person is doing it actually till the show is happening. So that's how we structure that, and basically, or most of the agencies structure that. Yeah, I think that might be interesting for artists to understand how you set this up. So we are a team effort. We do weekly meetings about that. We always discuss what are the shows on the weekend and which problems do we have in the future where we might need our team to solve them. Yeah, that's a bit the setup.
And Sam as well, you have obviously so much experience in that, bringing specifically artists that are based in Africa over. So how has that experience been for you?
I mean, in the beginning, it was very challenging. I think it was about the access to information that there was from, let's say, validated sources in South Africa, which is very unclear. It wasn't as strategic as Europe is from a visa perspective. It was, you didn't know whether that you were going to get the visa or not, and I hated that idea where like you want to do a booking and you're like, he might or might not get it. So I kind of spent about 2 years just researching and working with different people to try and find out what is my best process to enable 100% guaranteed that they're gonna get it no matter what. And then I can easily time out certain process or also duration of the visa, like whether it's 6 months or 1 year. Do you know, are you gonna get given 1 week in Amsterdam or are you gonna get given 6 months multiple entry? It was too difficult to deal with that security level, I would say, in South Africa, to guarantee, say, all right, we want to build a tour, all right. All relying on this one visa, like how is that possible without clear answers? So that was my strategy, to specifically find individuals in South Africa that I could then trust, that then I add as a minor extra cost to certain bookings, very minor, but just out of sense of security for them and for me to be able to do my job in an efficient manner, because without that security and that individual on the ground in SA, impossible, absolutely impossible.
So it's having somebody on the ground over there on that side, because I know they even they hold the visa, they hold the passport, right? There's just kind of,
you have options. You can pay to keep your passport. You can do expedited appointments. You can do everything, but there's with everything there's a cost that sometimes is relative for certain artists, but not ones maybe that are playing their first international shows. So you have to be like, okay, I'm gonna do my Schengen 6 months in advance before travel. And I mean, the people on the ground are more so the individuals that are checking in with people that work at the visa consulates, or people that are able to get expedited appointments in place, make sure that there is a constant flow of information coming to me, not just book an appointment online and see what happens. Like,
oh, that's really valuable. I think a key thing that I got from all your responses is structure, you know, being organized and not just winging it, and, you know, because you're also risking not just your artists' integrity and their careers in that sense if things don't go well, or if you don't pull the visa in time to make it to the show, but you're also sabotaging a potential important relationship of a promoter that's investing in this art, in this show, in this art, in your artist. So it's really approaching it from my point of view, like in really respecting, you know, look, if you don't fully respect whether it's your artist, but respect also the promoter, you know, and prioritize that. And realize that we're all putting our sweat and tears. I'm not gonna say blood because it's not that crazy, but we are putting our sweat and tears into what we do on our side. So definitely respect those relationships and those people that are reaching out to and have interest in your artists, especially with artists which are so many in this space that are just up and coming, that might not necessarily, it's not like I'm bringing a lot of artists, for example, and I know Wesley is the same, that is not gonna be the ones necessarily selling the show in that sense, right? Like bringing, like you announce it and all of a sudden it's going crazy. So it really is an investment of time and resources and everything. So yeah, super, super important. Be organized, be very organized like these gentlemen right here.
Yeah, I just want to say that artists should truly respect what you're saying right now, because at the end of the day, if an artist doesn't show up to your show, it looks bad to the promoter. You know what I mean? So it's really, really important for like artists to respect, the craft and what they do and everything. So yeah, take your point.
Yeah.
Capito.
Well done.
Oh, the irony. All right. Talk about that another day. All right. All right. Let's touch. I guess we could end on another note. So much great information. Thank you guys thus far. Give a hand to them. We're gonna do another hand, but give one hand right now. We can touch real quickly because of the volume of bookings that are happening in this space, and it being a complete change of lifestyle for a lot of people, where you might have had longer breaks in the past between shows, and now it's, 8 hours in a city and you're out. Mental health, physical health, all of that stuff. How do you find balance in that, or what are some practices that you can share? Thandi, what are some practices that you can share on things that you've implemented or things that you're slowly working on to bring more balance into your life, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual? Are you checking in with your folks back home more regularly because of the chaotic nature and the ups and, some people really underestimate the adrenaline, the rush that comes with, the show, and then you leave and then you're alone, and just so many things. So if you can share some of that in your experience.
This year is.
Capito was about. You wanted to talk?
You're talking after me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After you.
Bill? Yeah. All right, cool. This year has been really, really telling on mental health in terms of my first-hand experience with it. Funny enough, I made a conscious decision one wild night in the streets of Soweto in December last year at Conquer with Mario Bad Box. I decided to get lit and have a great time. And after that, I realized, being able to celebrate at the end of the year with your friends and family is nice. However, how do I feel in terms of the person I am the day after, the day after, the day after? And it was the understanding that I struggle with being able to have a heavy night consuming alcohol and actually be my best self digitally for the rest of my team who are at home, who are how many hours away from me, time zones, et cetera, and the build up with anxiety, seeing notifications on your phone, and you don't want to deal with it going into a hole because you're just hungover. I just realized this actually isn't worth it. I made a conscious decision from the 1st of Jan to be sober, and I haven't touched anything since.
Yo.
And it has been tough. It has been tough because it actually pushed me to understand what is my mental capacity and how do I actually exercise my mental strength, not just my physical. Being in spaces where you do have big audiences and we normally do go for a shot or whatever to say, oh, we're cutting off the edge of nerves, etc. It's a lie. Your mental capacity actually can do it for you, but you actually decided to not give it the space in the room because you actually decided to pick up a bottle instead. And I don't believe that's a true reflection of who you are as a person. It's who you are under the influence rather than the best Kitty Amor you can possibly be. So it has been very difficult on me mentally. However, to be able to come away from each show knowing my best friend was water. My best friend was Red Bull, which is crack in itself, but it's safer, I guess. But knowing that I allowed myself to overcome a nervous performance, but also do it knowing that there was nothing overshadowing who I am, and it was just me and a bottle of water, I actually realized, no, that you are a powerful person in mind, body, and spirit. And actually the reflection that people have come away with of you through music, through how you carry yourself as well, is a long-lasting impression than, oh, they played a great set, but they were drunk though. You got to remember, promoters speak amongst each other, venues speak amongst each other, and how you carry yourself is extremely important, because you may think that you bombed your set and they never booked you again, but actually that, was it 1942 that was on your rider? Is the one that blocked your set and blocked your opportunities thereafter. And I think we need to actually ask ourselves, are we living for the moment of now, or do we actually want to continue this how many years on that you have got God-given? So I would say, in terms of touching on to the areas that has given me that balance, building a relationship in music in terms of creating my tight-knit family with music has given me that balance to decipher the business as well as the fulfilling relationships within the business. Staying grounded at home, I know I'm how many hours away from home, and I do miss my family, but what is the family I can create whilst I'm on the road? And I tell you what, sometimes getting a text message in the morning, I have to big up Mario Barbox, because getting a message from him in the morning where he just says, "Kit, are you all right?" That is very warming for me, because he also understands, as an artist himself, what it is like for him, but he takes the time out to check on his peers as well, because he knows what it means for him should he receive it from me. So I would say actually having that close-knit of family within the business has been really key. Sadly, Joseph is gone, but when I saw him on Friday, the hug I gave him, I was like, just hold me a little bit closer for longer, because it's recharging my battery to know that we've been doing this all together all summer long, where we understand what it feels like for us and forget what it may feel like for others. But just to be able to exchange that energy in that small moment, actually just say, I value this moment with you, and you don't actually know how much it contributes to the person I can be for the rest of the year. So that has been a key thing for me. Another thing I would say is, don't be a slave to your device, man. Oh my gosh, phones. Like, it's such a thief of joy. Thandi touching on comparison is insane. Like, what you see online and seeing someone else enjoying and celebrating and seeing them grow their community doesn't mean that it takes away from what it is you are doing. I'm not Thandi Draai, and Thandi is not Kitty. I should celebrate who Thandi Draai is, as well as being comfortable in who Kitty is. And I think we need to actually ask ourselves our own security in self in order for us to add value to others, rather than just seeing what we can take for others. It's so important. And especially as a female as well, because there's so little of us, a lot of people will say, oh, this person is better than, and I mute the noise, I'm not interested, because what I do make a conscious effort to do is to go onto each individual's page, and when I see something that they're doing, I'm very vocal on celebrating it so the audience can see I champion that person, and I actually have a lot of respect for what it is they're doing. I'm not going to allow you to tell me, oh, Kitty Amor, what you're doing is not valued because I am comparing you to. That's your business. I never told you I want to be in that space. So if you want to waste your time doing that, by all means, go ahead. But what I will do is fulfill my happiness, my joy, my understanding of how hard this thing is through celebrating others. And I think as artists, we need to not be shy in doing so. Like, to go onto a comment and say, the Capo, I see you winning, just seeing you smiling in a picture is making me smile. Comment that so that the audience can see there's a togetherness and we are human beings as well. It allows for others that don't understand and come into this community to see fellowship rather than seeing competition amongst each other, because divide and conquer is a real thing. And if they see there's no organization amongst yourselves as a community, they will mess you up. So when you're complaining about why the Beatport looks the way it does, ask yourself the question, is there fellowship, is there understanding, is there community and a relationship amongst your peers? That is what has really, really kept me going this year. So the likes of Thandi, the Capo, Barbox that's in this room, Wes, Michi, there's so many of you that I love and respect so much for the efforts and the mental strength that has been required from us when people are comparing and dictating what your future should look like for you.
I feel bad because I'm getting late right now.
But next year, no.
Well,
I feel bad, but look, mental health is really important, trust me. Although I'm getting late, but I do exercise, you know. Guys, I'm serious. I do cardio a little bit. I try. Also, I do fasting as well. So that's very important because health is really important as an artist because you get to travel so much and that is really exhausting. You know what I mean? So health is key. Exercising is key. Cardio is key as well. Also, eating good. Like you really need to eat good. You know, it's very important for your health.
yeah, because I know also being a traveling artist where you're getting invited to all these dinners or there's just, hotel food and fast food and airport food and everything. So that discipline is super, I can't even imagine, imagine doing it that consistently. But we did talk about, the intermittent fast, like you eat 1 meal a day, right? 1 meal a day. 1 meal a day. Shout out to 1 meal a day. Any closing words from anybody? Anybody wanted to share anything with the audience before we move on to the next chat?
I have one thing because we were at these don'ts, and I think one of the don'ts is not talk with other people, and especially, like we said, meet in real life. But you can as well meet on the phone on a call, which I think is way more important than text messages, etc., because you get interaction, you can play ping pong with people, you can exchange ideas. So yeah, reach out to people and speak to them, answer your phones, and be proactive, especially because it's super important that we share information, that we keeping the bonds. We are a relatively small scene, which has the advantage that we can really work together and we can really know each other and we can really collaborate. And yeah, that was for me like one of the big don'ts is don't talk to each other or just send a WhatsApp and that's it. Just call people and speak with each other.
Amazing. Yo, thank you everybody for all the gems, for all the valuable information. I can't wait to play this back. This is going to go actually on our YouTube as well in the coming weeks for everybody to be able to re-soak this information. I see Sis with the notepad. Yo, that's the move right there. Thank you everybody. So we're gonna have Coco M come through for a chat on her Past project. Thank you everybody, Thandi, Capito, the Capo, Sam, Wesley, Robin, and Kitty Amor. Incredible. Appreciate all of you.